But first we have Paul Johnson talking to Michael Arthur about how students should go about finding a flat for next year.
Every year, students at Imperial College have trouble finding accommodation. Michael Arthur, the welfare officer, is trying to sort out a plan so that people next year will have somewhere to look for information. Now, Michael, thank you for coming along this evening. I believe, in fact, there's a meeting coming up in the near future to look at all the problems.
Well, what we're doing is next week we're going to be putting out information so that people will be forewarned about the problems they're going to have to face when they come back next term to look for accommodation. I think it's mainly going to be aimed at people who are at present living in hall, say first years, who haven't already been through the experience of trying to find somewhere.
They don't know what they're up against.
No, I mean, so I think it's good for them to, if they can, be a bit forewarned. And what we're going to do is on the Monday, we're going to have something in the SCR in the Union Building, lunchtime, 12:45 onwards, where someone from the Princess Gardens accommodation office and someone from the residence office in college and myself will be there, and we can explain what each of our organisations can do to help, and also outline some of the problems that people are likely to face.
So, in fact, this is somewhere for the students to turn up to next week?
Yes, if people want to come along.
And this is next Monday?
Next Monday.
Well, what about if they come back next year and they're still looking for somewhere?
About if I can just say something more about the about next week.
Oh, right.
There'll also be one or two other things in that IC Radio, if one can mention that on Stoic.
Well, you can try.
Are going to be putting out something every night, including Capital Radio's Bedsit Jungle programme,
yes.
which is a very good documentary, really, on the kind of hazards you face looking for somewhere to live in London. And there'll also be interviews with the typical landlady and one or two other interviews. But there'll be something on every evening between 7 and 9 about that.
So, in fact, next week is quite a good time to learn how to look for
Yes,
a flat.
and there'll also be an accommodation supplement in the Felix on the Friday at the end of the week.
Right. How soon ahead should students look for somewhere to live?
Well, this is very difficult. It would be nice to think that one could, by starting early, alleviate the problems of next year. The only people who are really geared up to helping you at this time of the year are the University of London Accommodation Office, because they have a lot of regular landlords who always let to students, and they're prepared to. They don't mind not taking any rent during the summer period. But these tend to be sort of lodgings, bed and breakfasts and friendly landlady, that kind of setup, which not everyone's looking for.
Well, at Imperial College we've had several setups to provide accommodation. A recent useful one was a head tenancy we set up in Lexham Gardens. How did that come about?
Well, that was initiated by the union, and we did the initial negotiation with the landlord. But because of the nature of a head tenancy, college then had to take it on. And now it's being handled by college, and it's
been successful, is it?
Well, it's going on this term as a kind of trial period, and then it's up to college what happens in the future.
But presumably if it does work okay, then this sort of thing will be continued?
One would hope so, because they're very nice flats, really.
They also have a housing cooperative setting up.
Well, this is a sort of rather tentative scheme for the future. What we're hoping to do is to set up a housing co-op, which means a group of people who are interested in doing something together for finding somewhere better to live. And we would then be able to approach various organisations with some chance that they would give us short life properties. That's places that are going to be knocked down. It doesn't mean they're falling down, it just means they're going to be knocked down.
By short life, that's what, a couple of years?
Yes, anything from 6 months to a couple of years, but one would hope to be talking about a year to 2 years.
Yeah.
And people could then do them up and live in them at a very low rent. So if anyone's interested in that, if they want to come up to the welfare centre, and they can get some more details.
Okay. Well, thanks very much, Michael. Obviously, the main thing is next Monday at, was it 12:30?
12:45.
12:45
yes,
in the SCR. Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.